gosh.
There we go.
Welcome to the darkness.
Hello and welcome back, everybody. How are you guys doing
Greetings.
tonight?
Good evening.
Good evening. How's everybody?
Oh, hey,
Living the
Ryan.
dream.
I love our fan there, Ryan. We're back tonight. We're talking about one of my favorite topics, and haunted mines, ghost towns, that kind of stuff. And hey, Dory, we're going to talk tonight about different hauntings that goes on and the kind of the mining disasters that we've had. So many, so many. And this country was pretty much founded on the gold rush, right? The West was.
At least the West Coast or the West side,
yeah.
Yeah. So I lived in the community where gold was found. I started the California Gold Rush. And when I was married in the little church, the first little church built there. There's no electricity, there's no power in the church. I mean, it's rough, but I did my homework on the benches right next to the river where they're still pulling gold out. And so the mines in Northern California and just all over Idaho, Nevada, California, Washington, Oregon. I want to say something like, because I'm still in the mining industry, but on a different part of, I kind of work still in the mining industry. And I think they said something like, they call them features. For every mine, you have features. So you would have like a heap leach pad where they're amalgamating the gold out of the rock. Yeah, they used to use, right, and cyanide and stuff. What it would do is it separate the gold from the substrate that it was in, if it was locked into something else. And you've got Mud Lover. Do you have dreads?
I do.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Is it
I
like
was
real
wondering
dreads?
that too.
What?
Those are real dreads?
No, they're braided in.
Oh, they're so cool.
Thanks.
That was just part of it. I don't know what I was thinking it was earlier. That's so cool.
I'm going next.
You're going, yeah. Okay, I'll tell you guys a funny thing. So when I first started at this job, there was this guy. He was retired law enforcement, but he was still working there in a different field because I think they have a requirement, a hard retirement age date in law enforcement for our agencies. And I'd see him, and this was the first month I was there. I'd see him one day and he'd be bald. And then I'd see him a couple of days later and he'd have a ball cap on with the ponytail. And it didn't register that the ball cap had the ponytail.
Oh.
I kept going, what the hell is going on? But it was too new and they didn't want to say anything. It took me forever to realize that this guy, he was a huge practical joker on everybody. And he'd walk by and just kind of wink and was that his brother? Like, what was happening? I'm so slow sometimes. Anyway. So, the first
You must be.
Huh?
Sounds like you're channeling your inner Jesse.
Oh my God. Jesse's going to beat you up when she hears that. Holy shit. Okay. All right. So, the first mine, Brian, I think I'd have to explore abandoned gold mines if I was near one. Just the chance of hitting a small vein of gold would be tempting, especially like 20 years ago. 38 years. Well, I'm telling you. So, that's where I was going to go real quick, Ryan. So the field that I work in now is I do the cleanup on the historic mines. So there's a lot of contaminants with these mines. And we have to study how many features are part of a mine. So with each mine, and it's not a shaft is this, it's an air vent. An adit is the one you walk into. Okay, just so y'all on the same page. But for every mine adit, there could be 5 to 10 features that only be closed for safety. And we've done on the public land in like California, Nevada, Oregon, Washington, California, Nevada, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, Colorado, I think we have something in the magnitude of 900,000 mine features that need to be closed.
Wow.
That's wild.
They're dangerous. They're ready to collapse. They're leaking cyanide. The cyanide is it's bad. They're really, really bad. So please do not. Yes, Ryan, never go into an adit. Ever, never. I'm telling you right now, the whole canary in the mine shaft, that's real.
Mm.
I work in mine cleanup and we're closing mines as fast as we can. And what we do now, we do bat surveys. We do wildlife surveys first. And we make sure if wildlife are using the mines, then we put up a gate so that they're wildlife friendly and the wildlife can still use them. Primarily bats, but sometimes you have cats and whatnot using stuff like that. If we're not finding wildlife, then what the spray foam you use to seal up a crack around a window?
Yeah.
Yeah. We bring those things in and it puffs the whole adit full 20 feet back so that nobody is going to get in there again because it will
Oh,
collapse
wow.
at some point. So that's Batwoman. Yeah, no, I'm not that.
I'm like, that'd be
Anyway,
cool to see though.
it's
Just
pretty
like
cool,
this
the
big old
puffing
puff.
machine. But the problem is you got to backpack those suckers up there to some of these features because they're not drivable. So you either airlift them in, you airlift everything in with a helicopter and all of the supplies, and then you're hoofing it up to an adit, and then they're puffing these things closed. So if you see a bat gate on a mine, if you see it gated, don't. Some of these idiots go out there and they'll chain up to them and pull them out. They're closed for a reason. They're going to collapse. They may have gases in them, and they're full of bats or wildlife. If they're gated, it's because the wildlife are using them. So stay out of them. Yeah. And bat guana is toxic for us to breathe in.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bats are toxic.
Yeah, I've let my identity slip. Yeah, Ryan. Anyway, so we're going to go on with haunted stuff. Last year or the year before, I can't remember now. I'm losing track of how many classes we've done, but we did our paranormal class at ISU, and we were investigating Gravely Hall, right? And we found a really bad dude, bad dude, down in the basement of Gravely Hall. And he did some pretty awful things to a young lady here in town, he said, during our communication with him. And we've run across him a few times now. And he's a bad dude. And he told us that the brothers of the young lady that he did these horrible things to took him out and took him out. Took him out.
Wow.
And they took him up to a canyon real close to us and put him in an adit in an old mine. So, Trista, tell your story.
So me and my spouse were up there hiking around one day because we're always in the mountains and we're not trail hikers. That's not fun. And we would come across actually the shaft and it had the bars on it. So now I know why the bars were on it. But when we were up there, we got this really bad feeling. And all of a sudden this black anomaly was just there. And then it followed us out. And I will tell you, I don't think we've ever got out of a mountain so fast.
Wow.
And I didn't even carry rocks that time out. Usually anytime I go to a mountain, I'll come out with like hands full of rocks. No, we were out of there and have not been back up there since. And then while we were doing the down there, it said that, or he said that he knew my spouse, that he remembered her. And we both were just kind of like, that was that black anomaly. And because it come up right around that shaft area that
Wow.
it was crazy. Like it still gives me chills to think about it. And we have not been back up there since.
Well, that connection. So we talked to this dude in Gravely Hall, and then you guys were like, "Oh my God, that's the guy." And I don't want to mention the place that he was put in because I don't want people to try to go up there. Was the attic closed?
It had the bars on it.
Had the bars. Okay, yeah.
And so now
it
I
is.
know why.
That's
There's
why
bars
they're
on.
bat gates. They're bat gates.
Yeah.
Don't pull those things off, guys. They're gated to keep you out for safety. Yeah. Yeah, Mad Max. So I grew up going in old gold mines. I grew up in all of this stuff. And we had a guy in our county sitting in his living room, and his living room disappeared one night with him in it, in his lounge chair. The whole mine structure gave away that his house was built on, and he was never found again. These things
Wow.
collapse, and they can be 1,000 feet or more deep. Like the Empire mine up in Grass Valley is unbelievably deep, guys. It's so deep. These mines are hey, Majesty. These mines are so deep. So one of the ones I was looking at is the Vindicator mine, and I'm going to show you where this is. This is in Colorado, and that story that Dory just shared in the comments, that's bananas, man.
Yeah.
So this is the old Vindicator mine. This is what's left of the old Vindicator mine right here. Here's some photos that were put online. This is the old part of the old head frame in the mill right here. This now you'll look, there was so much gold coming out of these mines around here. This is called Goldfield, this little town, that they actually would joke that the roads were lined with gold, paved with gold. So much gold. Now you can see this gold mine. Now it's an open pit mine up here. So this mining complex now is really huge, but the old Vindicator mine has quite a history to it. And it, let me get to the history. So the history of this mine, there was some violence going on here, and a lot of these mines had a lot of violence in them. I mean, miners are like loggers. They're burly guys, and they like to drink and they like to fight. I mean, look at Butte. Butte, Montana's got quite the history, right? And it was one of the highest producing mines in the Cripple Creek and the Victor Mining District. And there was an act of sabotage that happened. So the miners formed a union, and they actually put dynamite in the mine, and two non-union workers were exploded when the dynamite went up. Yeah, and that was orchestrated by a hired dynamiter, and because the miners had gone on strike, and so they wanted to get back at the management. Okay, so this mine had a lot of stuff go down on it. There were two people who were killed in that one. It was a booby trap mechanism, and it was actually a loaded revolver that was rigged with a wire connecting the trigger to the guardrail. So when a person lifted or moved the guardrail to pass through, to get into, I'm going to tell you what a head frame is and all that kind of stuff. The revolver would then pull the wire, and the dynamite exploded.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was pretty bad, but there were a lot of deaths in this mine. There was a blast that occurred at the 600-foot level. I mean, we're talking, these mines can be several thousand feet deep. Yeah, that killed some people. There were just a lot of accidents there, but that's not at all uncommon with mining. Is deaths every year, which is one of the reasons why we have MSHA now, which is the Mine Safety Health Administration. And you have to do an 8-hour training course. You have to do a lot of training every year to stay MSHA certified to be on a mine site. And yeah, sabotage. But Ryan, so, it's kind of like, I don't know that a lot of the mining accidents that have happened out there were sabotage. They were purely accidents. a head wall would come down or explosions because they're full of gases that are toxic. That's why you have so many shafts, right? You have so many vents because they're trying to vent out or pump out sometimes the gases that are underneath the ground that build up. So they're just bad. It's a bad situation. But I know Birdie, Mudlover, Mad Max, you guys were talking about Tommy knockers before we started the whole legend of Tommy knockers and the superstition.
Well, Tommy knockers. Yeah, Tommy knockers is a superstition that started in Ireland and Britain. They just called them Tommies, and what they are supernatural little critters like dwarfs or goblins or gremlins or kobolds, and they live in the mines. And if you make them mad, they can do stuff like leak gases or collapse tunnels or what have you like that. And then they moved over here, and then for I'm not sure why, the Tommy knockers was added in, and that was a lot of legends with the East Coast side of the mining industry with the coal mines and stuff like that. And what they would say is that I know I've read a couple stories of miners being in the coal mines going down some tunnels, and they'd hear 3 knocks, and they turned to look, and they swear they saw like a little person run down one of the tunnels and then duck behind a boulder or something like that. And then another 3 knocks, and then the tunnel collapsed. So that's kind of the legend of the Tommy knockers in the short version.
Yeah, kind of a terrifying legend to think you're
I'm
all
like, yeah. To see a little person like all of a sudden come out of nowhere, I'm done. Out. Nope, I'm good.
If you look at how deep these mines are, and I should share that now. I have a photo. I'm not sure if you guys know what a head frame is. So let me share this photo if I can figure out how to do it. Let's see, window. Here we go. So this is a head frame. This you'll see these all over the mining district, like all around Butte and old mining districts. You'll see these head frames, and what this is it is used to hoist things up and down underground. They have to build them really, really tall because they're going down so many feet, thousands of feet sometimes, right? So that's what a head frame is. I can't imagine being that far underground and hearing something like that. You know what yeah, no.
No.
Let me figure out how to get this off the stage. There we go. That would freak me out a little bit. Some of these mines are so deep that they would actually, there's sleds, giant, enormous sleds that are built like the Empire Mine in Northern California up in Grass Valley. It would hold like 30 guys at a time in these little bench seats, and they just go shooting down the shaft, the attic. They had these, they'd go down like it was a carnival ride. It'd go sometimes 40 minutes it took them to get down to the bottom of where they were going. And they had these poor little donkeys that they would put on these sleds, and they never saw the light of day again. They lived their whole lives underground because they couldn't get them back up, and they were down there. And that's all they did was these little burrows, that were down there.
Oh,
and these guys, I can't, the height going down to get to where you were working, it was only this far over your head as you're shooting down at 45 miles an hour on these sleds. Like, no.
Wow.
No.
No.
No. I'm like the amount of claustrophobia.
Yeah.
I remember watching what was it? A documentary on some mining accidents, and these poor kids that were on one of those those elevators going down, like it has strict rules when they showed up at the job. If there's tools in the elevator, you're not supposed to ride it. And these kids were just like, you know what? Nah. And they got in the elevator with these tools, and one of these tools clipped the side of the tunnel that was going up or down or whatever it was, and it essentially turned them into hamburger.
Yeah, a lot of that happened up in Butte. There are stories about all of that stuff. It was just, ugh. Yeah, and you did have a lot of kids work in these mines.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm going to show you how this is one of the head frames up in Butte. This right here, you can't really tell from here, but what they'd have like on this particular head frame, maybe 100 of these, and they're one guy wide. So a miner would step into this thing and close the door, and then they'd go down. It's like it's like a carnival ride. And then the next guy would step on, close the door, and it would go down. They just keep dropping. So they just had to walk onto this thing as it's dropping, and they just keep dropping down into the mine to get down to work. And then the other side's coming up. So it was this constant revolving mechanism of guys coming and going from the mine. And if one thing happened, if you didn't get the door closed, your leg, it's not stopping. Like, it's not going to stop. It keeps moving. You step on it, close the door, and it just keeps moving. I'm like, no. Yeah. So these guys were seriously, they were seriously fearless, and that's why they kind of lived hard. But
I'm like, were they fearless or did they just need money to feed their
That
families? So
too.
they did what they had
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah, but
too.
still, you got to remember that was good money.
Yeah, really
Now,
good
for
money.
what those poor guys did, that was good money. As a matter of fact, from what I've heard, is there were women that would dress as men to go work in the mine because they needed money that bad, and that was good money back in the 1800s.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of those wildcatters that go out there and they'd find their mine and start digging it out, and it'd just collapse on them, and then 20 years later somebody else would come find them. So that mining is not for the faint of heart.
No, it is not.
So I have up here right now Butte, Montana, and we're not that far from Butte. This is the Berkeley pit right here. This pit. This is another pit on top. You can't really see the steepness of everything, so you have to go way up. This is a really pretty steep vertical climb to get up here to this upper area. But this was the speculator mine right here, and there is a big memorial there when you go. There's still to this day close to 10,000 miles of underground workings here. 10,000 miles. There were lots and lots of connected mines, and they had connected, shared. They were all like connected under there, and there's still a lot of connections. You can go to the Montana Tech. It is really unsafe. You can go to Montana Tech and the university and look at. They have mine underground working maps. The largest underground fire in a mine happened at the speculator mine here in Butte, and it took out, and there's this huge memorial over the top of this Berkeley pit. It's an overlook, and it took out so many people. I'm lost my notes, so let me find them. Great. But the Berkeley pit itself, the water is so toxic that if birds land in the water, they're immediately dead.
Wow.
Yep.
Immediately die. And so they have large noise cannons. They have these cannons that go off all day long.
Yeah.
And they're boom like that, and it makes so much noise that the birds they won't land. So and they have all of this noisemakers and everything off their ginormous cannons. You can see them from the overlook. And you can hear the booming that goes on all day long to try to keep the birds off the pit. There's no way to clean up the water. The pit is so deep and the water is so toxic, there's no way to clean it. So they do have they do have a large water treatment plant now down in here that actually treats it to the point, and I was at that water treatment plant earlier this year. It actually treats it to drinking water standards coming out now.
Nope. I still would not drink that.
No.
No. I'm like, no.
The Silver Bow River, which is this river that right through here, and you'll see another treatment facility here. But this river system that goes all the way up through Red Lodge or Deer Lodge, Montana, has now been completely. It's gone through the cleanup process. It's been dredged. It's clean. The willows are planted. The wildlife is coming back. So they've made huge strides in cleaning up Butte. Huge strides. They cannot. So what we were told in the last mining conference this year was, if they lowered the water in the Berkeley pit to the point where they're trying to drain it, they're afraid the town would collapse. Because the pressure of the water and the underground workings is keeping everything up. So that's one of the reasons why they're like, we're just going to have to leave the water. I mean, because they don't want Butte to collapse.
Wow.
That's really scary. So let me tell you about what happened in this disaster. It was June 1917, and ironically, the company was installing electric cables in the mine as part of a fire suppression system. One of the cables fell down the main shaft, so it went down, right? And there was lead sheeting on the cable. It was damaged, and the cable, and you can see, and I have pictures of the cable. It actually, the lead wrapping came off the cable, and the cables themselves were soaked in oil. And you can see them, and I have pictures of some of the cables from the inside of the building at the mine right below it. And they sparked. And because they were soaked in oil, whoop, it became a ginormous bomb, basically. And the fire started, and it started going through all of the underground workings. And it extended to the adjoining mines. The timber frames that they used down there, a lot of them were soaked in oil to keep them from coming apart.
Degrading.
Thank you. And so they went up. Everything's on fire. And it started consuming all of the oxygen. So in the portions of the underground workings where the guys weren't dying from fire, they're now being suffocated because the fire was taking all of the oxygen from them. So, it was just really, really bad. So they either died in the inferno, or they were dying from asphyxiation or from gas inhalation, because now the oxygen replacement system isn't working and the gases are building up to a toxic level really, really quickly down there. So they have...
those things, man, and it just flashed and ran the whole time, huh?
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah. And so behind the bulkheads, a lot of the miners were actually writing letters to their families, their wives or girlfriends, knowing they were going to die. And those letters were found. And they're part of the memorial now. You can actually go online and see the memorial for the speculator mine. There was so many different nationalities. They have flags of all the countries from the men who died. They have photographs. It's a beautiful memorial up there, but it's very chilling. Let's see. Yeah, there was 168 miners died in that. The cables had fallen down to the 2,500 foot level. So the Granite Mountain mine and the Speculator mines were the two that were really involved with all of that stuff. And the guys who didn't perish in the fire, their bodies were found with the letters that they had written. They were scratching it out on any little piece of paper that they had.
Wow.
They weren't going to make it out. And it was just
That's
it's so
sad.
tragic. And I tell you, Butte is one of the most haunted places you'll ever go to. Butte itself. And I think it's from all of the death there.
Oh yeah.
That makes sense.
Totally.
It's crazy haunted. I'm going to try. What did you guys find out on some of your mines? Did you look at any?
I looked at a few.
Go ahead.
One of the ones though, and it was one of the local ones that I found interesting. I didn't quite dig too far into it, but it was the mines out there outside Boise and the Owyhee dwarves that roam the countryside and all the mines that are up in the foothills and stuff like that. And apparently they eat people, especially little kids.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, if they're not eating them, then the cougar are. You saw that video from the other day?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even even Native American lore was saying that there's these little dwarven people that roam the countryside and the rocks and the hills and stuff like that, and they look like little people, except they take their tail and they wrap it around their waist like a belt, so it doesn't freak people out when they see them. Well, it's still going to freak you out if they're short people, but they have these tails that they wrap around their belt or wrap around their waist that looks like a belt, so you don't freak out as bad, I guess.
Wow.
Nope.
No, thank you.
Yeah, no.
Oh my God.
I'm like, those mountains up there anyways are just so eerie. I don't know. Something about Boise area is just not my forte. I don't like the Boise area though.
The Owyhee area is a little, it has a different feel to me.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. So, and if you weren't killed in the mines, so I'm going to show you guys this picture. So I went through, they have a beautifully restored facility now at the Alamogordo mine. I'm going to butcher the name. I'll come up with the name here in a second, but they have a beautifully restored building. And it is the inner workings of the mine for all of the heavy equipment, right? Like the pumps, the generators, everything that they need, right? And I'm trying to figure out how to, there we go. Oops. My computer's, hello, how do I share? Image file? No, it's not letting me share. Why can't I share it?
I don't know.
Well, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know a lot about mines. I did a little bit of research, and what I found was if there was a mine close to your city, that was a great way for your city to make money, because the money that was paid to those guys that were underground, one of the first places they'd go to as soon as they got off, they'd take their money and they would go into the bar. And that's what happened in Tonopah, Nevada. That's what they would do, is they would get out of the mines and they would actually go into a bar or, eat. And that was big money back then, So, and they would come out, a lot of those guys, that was just the way they lived, like you said earlier, hard and reckless. I mean, clearly some of those guys, they put that money away, but they ended up, it was good times when they came out, and the miners would actually take those cities over, and it was pretty gnarly.
Yeah. If you've been to Virginia City, Nevada, there's still some mines that you can go into. They have them pretty well all of the head frames are shored up and everything, and you can go into some of those mines. And I actually got quite a number of orbs in the mines, like mists in one of them. Those guys lived hard, and they played hard, and they died hard. You know what I'm saying? It
Yeah.
was just bad. So this picture right here, and this is just to show you, so that if you weren't dying down below, you're dying in these huge pieces of machinery that had no guards on them. They had no railings around them. These ginormous engines are going and turning, and because they're moving all of those cables up and down several thousand feet, and all these guys and equipment up and down several thousand feet. There's no guards on any of this stuff. Like, I'm looking around from the perspective of safety, going, shit, you can die a million
Well,
different
I'm
ways
like,
in here.
they didn't have OSHA back then. This is why
No,
they
they
have
did
OSHA
not.
now.
They didn't.
And it's in a
So
world of OSHA violations.
yeah.
Yeah.
So on a mine site, OSHA doesn't exist. It's MSHA, but you're right. It's the same thing. They're looking at everything from the safety perspective. There was so many guys that died in this building alone, just from
Oh, yeah.
falling into the machinery or getting an arm caught, and
Yep.
it was gone.
You know, can you imagine? Can you imagine you did somebody dirty? And I'm not talking about dirty birdie, but if you did some, see how I did that? See what I did there?
Yeah,
It's been a long day. But I mean, think about it. If you did somebody dirty or somebody did you dirty, have them, you know, they're working up there in that area, boom, little push, you know.
I just tripped and pushed Fred down.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
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 That's what I
You
was
know?
just gonna. That's what I was just gonna say. Is like some guy double crossed you at a poker game,
Mm-hmm.
and you just walk up and you're like, "Hey, guess what? Boom!"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's turned into.
Did you know
pudding.
today's your last day? Yeah.
Right.
He
Yeah,
tripped. He
see ya.
fell. I didn't know what happened.
Yeah. It was absolutely, it's bananas when you go into these old mine sites and you see how dangerous everything is. And like, my God, how did anybody live through this work? And then, like Dory said, when she was on, like the coal mining, I mean, it doesn't matter if it was gold or silver or zinc or whatever mining they were doing, coal, it was the same thing. And I know the coal
Yeah.
mining, the seams of ore back there, they had, you have the one, what is the name of that town? It's in Pennsylvania. I've actually been there. It's been on fire, and they said it will probably burn for 1,000 years. or more.
Oh, Centralia.
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 I've driven
Yeah.
through that place.
I was
It
going to
was
say
not,
that. That popped in my head earlier.
yeah. So that one was a coal seam that started on fire, and a lot of the fire and coal seams, a lot of it will daylight up on top of the ground,
Mhm.
and then it comes back down. It depends, the geography at all. And one lightning strike, boom, it's gone. You'll never put it
Yeah,
out.
but
They'll never put
the
that one
end,
out.
they won't. And you know, but you got to know the backstory to that too. A lot of that Centralia, they used to take, that was their landfill.
Right.
So they would take trash and put it down in there, right? So you get, like you said, a lightning strike or something flashing in there, you know, and you're, I mean, what is the perfect, right? Because we all know that fires have to be in that fire tetrahedron,
Right.
right? Because it's equal fuel, it's equal air, it's equal oxygen, air, fuel. But you have, the tetrahedron part is that actual where it mixes. It can't be too much of one and too much of another. And that one day when that started, it just ran. And like you said, it'll continue running until it's not.
Man, Dirty Birdie's got his own fan page going on over here. I love it. You guys watching all of this?
Nice,
Love you
Vera.
guys. So
Dirty
one
Birdie's
of
got a
the-
secret life.
I know he does. Totally. He's got that Discord life going on. One of the, so here's some other things that I found on hauntings. So there's the Phoenix Gold Mine, and that's in Idaho Springs, Colorado. And the Dude and Bro Show, right? Ghost Adventures did that.
The Dude and Bro Show.
Yeah. So they claim that there were tiny malicious spirits called the Tommy Knockers in the mines The remains of 2 people, one allegedly a witch, is also buried inside. I find that hard to believe, but anyway, there might be someone in there. They probably went in there and died from some kind of gases,
Yeah.
Mhm.
The Maggie Mine, that's in Calico, California, and it's located in the Calico ghost town. It's supposed to be super duper haunted. The Tonopah Historic Mining Park, which is in
Mhm.
Tonopah, Nevada, there's a lot of paranormal activity goes on there. There's apparitions, there's lights, there's orbs, there's mists, there's shadows, there's a lot of stuff that's seen there. The Crescent Mine, which is in Sumter, Oregon, and I guess this one was featured on the Sci-Fi Channel's Ghost Mine after crews reported walking off the job due to strange occurrences.
Mhm.
Wow.
And a spirit named Joe is supposed to haunt that mine.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go on and on and on with these mines. I did find about the miners were real superstitious too. Like,
Oh boy.
Like sailors
Yeah.
almost.
Oh boy.
like sailors, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, because a lot of them would come from England and Ireland and Scotland and places like that, and they have their own beliefs about everything, and a lot of it revolves around the Fae. Like, you can't go over here because there's a, what is it called, a hawthorn tree, and that's a, what is it
Mhm.
called, like a fairy prison or something like that. I forget. It's been a long day. I'm tired. I can't remember all my lore.
Oh.
It's yeah,
But
it's
they-
pretty interesting.
Yeah, but
Mud
they
Lover,
bring
did
on.
you have something?
I did a little write up on the Sterling Hill mine in Ogdensburg, New Jersey.
Oh,
It was active from 1897 to 1986, and it was owned by the New Jersey Zinc Company. Over the course of their 90-year history, they had 77 deaths were recorded. Their claims of paranormal activity include shadow figures, whispers, voices, footsteps, faces in windows of buildings, because the surrounding buildings of the mine they also believe are haunted. An apparition of a miner carrying a lantern, and unseen hands have touched or pushed people. The locals talk about this person called Bicycle Pete. It's said that after the mine closed in 86, Pete continued to ride his bicycle around town. And then one day he went out to ride and he was never seen or heard from again. They did locate his bike, but they never found him. And they believe he fell in the mine shaft, leaving behind his ghost to haunt the mine and anyone who crosses his path to this day. The locals say if you yell Bicycle Pete and taunt him enough, he'll even pull you into the mine shaft and leave you to suffer the same fate he did. They do have tours year round. You can go in and you can tour this mine. Recently they had a 5K that actually went through the mine.
what?
A portion of the 5K went through the mine. How cool would that be?
That would be cool.
I would do that one.
That would be cool.
Right?
I would do that 5K.
Yeah, and during Halloween, they do a fundraiser that supports the Ogdenburg graduating 8th grade classes 8th grade trip. So that's kind of cool as well.
That's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, definitely.
I would love that. I would love to
Yeah.
do that. And anytime I'm anywhere traveling and they have a mine open, I'm there. I go because it's
Yeah.
the feel when you're underground is so different, you know?
Yeah.
Brian says I die from a 5K, not from being scared.
All right.
What is a 5K? Is that like 4K?
There's 3.3.
3.2 miles?
Yeah, it's 3 point something miles.
Yeah.
The longest I ever ran was in boot camp to graduate. We did 12 miles.
Oh.
Oh my God. And I had 10 spiral fractures in my right leg.
Oh,
They
jeez.
taped it so that I could run
Nope.
it. And I was dying. We ran it though. We just kept running until they told us not to run.
Dang,
Well,
good for you.
No, Brian. I swear to God. I thought I was gonna die. I think I did
Ugh.
die. I think I lost one of my lives that day. It was
No,
so bad.
no, it's
I would
not
not. The only
oorah.
time I'm
It's
running now is if a grizzly chases me.
it's not oorah. It's whatever Navy is. I forget what it was.
Who? No, let's see.
No.
Army.
We didn't really have one of those when I was in. Anchors away. Anchors away. No. So, ladies is only Paris Island. I don't know. I was not in the Marine Corps. I was in the Navy. So, okay. The Venture Gold Mine in Arizona that said that the ghost of Jimmy Davis is a guy who died in a gruesome work accident, and several thieves that were hanged nearby are said to haunt this location. Yeah, I think that's pretty. The thieves. And then there's the 6-1 mine, which is in Gold Valley, California. Miners report seeing Guardian of the 500, which is the spirit of the old miner who appears to warn workers of impending danger, and the Tommy knockers, who are on the 1200 level for moving tools. So they're 1200 feet deep, the Tommy knockers. Yeah, no thanks. No.
I can't even imagine. You know, there's an underground lake in Tennessee
Oh yeah.
that Mud Lover and I have been to a couple times, and that's cool. You ever get a chance? I don't know where it is, but that's where it is. It's in Tennessee. But you're underground. I can't even imagine. You know, these guys probably worked a 12, 18-hour shift.
Yes.
And they go out, their whole life was consumed down there.
Yes.
You know, you 9 times out of 10, when we're working, we're able to sit back and grab a burger somewhere or whatever, step away from your workstation.
Right.
But these guys didn't do that. You know, they ate down there, they slept down there in some cases, they went to the bathroom down there in some cases. You know, that was their whole friggin' life. Everything I've heard about miners is, yeah, that job sucked.
Yeah.
But that was their life. That was the way it is.
So I talked to a lot of my counterparts who are inspectors for underground mines now, and the mines are so enormous that they have huge pieces of equipment down there now. Huge.
Oh,
We
yeah.
used to think a D8, D9 was big. No, what's going on in these underground workings now are so massive, and they're pulling out so much ore. It's unbelievable. To have that much money tied up in the operation and still make money, you know that these things are loaded with gold and silver and everything else, you know. So, Ryan, were you in the Marine Corps?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, we weren't Navy tough as nothing like Marines, I'm telling you. So there was there's a town called Grant Town, West Virginia, and there's an old mine there called the Federal #1 mine. And apparently in this old coal mine, there's a Russian miner who's known as the ghost of Big John. And he haunts that area cut, and a lot of people have seen him. So these whole complexes, if I tell you, if anybody ever gets the chance to go to Grass Valley, California, and go to the Empire Mine, it's worth it. And go through the museum and see that this thing was so deep. I can't even, I don't remember. I'd have to look it up, but it was so deep. And they pulled out so much gold out of this mine that they thought it was played out. And they've done a reevaluation and a reassessment of the mine. And they believe that 85% of the gold in the mother lode is still sitting there.
Wow.
That's crazy.
There's so much gold left. But the problem is now is how to extract it, because it's all flooded. And with the environmental regulations, rightfully so, because we have so much toxins coming from these old mines. But how do you extract it safely? What do you do with the water? How do you manage all of that now? That's why they're not going after it, even at the price of gold. It's so hard.
Yeah, but it seems like you could cycle that. You could cycle that water and reclaim it and just push it back down in there.
Yeah, I don't
You know
know
what
the
I
level of
mean?
contamination
Yeah.
in the water.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know what's down, like if it's full of cyanide now because of the cyanide extraction process. I don't know. So
Yeah.
mercury, cyanide, and there was another. I'm trying to remember. There was another contaminant we dealt with a lot in the mother lode from these heap leach pads, and we actually had people with private drinking wells that had contamination in them, and we were having to close some of their wells and find a way to get them water because they were coming down with really bad illnesses that nobody could trace. Nobody could figure out what was wrong with them. And it boiled down to their well was hitting, because our wells were 800 feet deep, 1,000 feet deep, because you're up on the mountains. So you're going
Right.
real far to get to a drinkable water system, but
Yeah.
people weren't testing water. They're just like, we
Mm.
hit water, good to go. No, no.
It's
It
dirty
needs to be
water.
tested. Yeah, it's not
Mhm.
good water. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, why does that water glow in the dark at night? Well,
Yeah.
guess
I
what?
feel my hair falling out and I only have one tooth left.
It's
It's
glowing because of the vitamins.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
That's interesting.
yeah. So the Empire, when you go through that, it's now a state park. And you go, it's beautiful. And they actually have a
wow.
working blacksmith shop there. You can buy stuff there. But the feels when you're there, and you can hike all around the Empire Mine. They have trail system, and we've been hiking through there. It doesn't feel good. There's a lot of death that happened there, you know. And
Well, you were talking about that one miner, Big John. Wasn't there a song about
big
him?
was that the
Big
song
Bad
based
John?
on him? Big Bad John.
Yeah, right. And there was a cave in, and John grabbed something, and there's a light above, and they talked
Oh yeah.
about how the miners got out except for one, Big John, and there's a plaque up there that says something
I have
about
to look that up.
I'm actually looking that up right now.
That
Yeah.
is so
Yeah, me
cool. I
too.
wonder if that is based on that's him. So he
that
was
would be well. You got to remember too, country music back in the day, that's folk music. So and we've talked about how that stuff gets handed down in verse. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know
I
we've talked about like the Edmund
no.
Fitzgerald, that kind of stuff.
Well,
So maybe,
Hmm.
I
Sent a
lived
Louisiana
in 19
man or Louisiana fellow to the promised land, Big John. It was
Big
the
Bad
promised
those
land.
John.
those are Russian miners, so I don't know, but
Oh.
Yeah.
um I lived in 1984 and 1985. I lived in West Virginia in the heart of coal mining country. And it was really interesting to live back there. And you want to talk about superstitious people, and it's not just because they're doing moonshine. That's a whole other level of experience we can talk about one night. That was a lot of fun. Because the parties they'd be like a week long. And the Appalachian music going on, and it was just fun. But whoo, those coal miners, I don't know. Bless them. I don't know how they did it. And they're generational.
Mm-hmm.
Three generations, 4 generations of miners. Like the loggers out here, they were generational people. This is what my daddy did. This is what I'm doing.
Yep.
But they die of black lung disease and all of these,
Right.
I just, like you were
Accidents,
talking
lots of
about.
accidents.
Well, not if the accidents didn't kill you, then the lung disease is going to kill you from the coal dust.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean,
I
they
mean,
weren't
think about it.
respirated.
No, they weren't. And like you said, they had the carbide lamps on, so that's off gassing.
Yep.
You've got the silt that's down in there. That's getting in your lungs.
And it's
You got
all
the
flammable.
all that stuff, and it goes in there and coats your lung tissue.
Yeah.
And what coughing up is not gonna do anything.
No,
So,
because the silica gets in there and it's like
Mhm.
asbestosis to your lungs. And
but
basically,
it gets all the way down in your lungs. It's not just topical. It gets
no,
down in your friggin' all that alveoli and stuff like that. And
yeah, it's
I
bad
know
news.
that those guys would. One of the first thing that they did was they started wearing their scarves, like bandanas over their faces, and that was their first part of the separation. But
Mhm.
still, that's
That's
that's not
nothing.
going to get down to your
Not
particles.
gonna do
But
anything.
I mean, it was the start, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they talk about those guys that have black lung disease, and those friggin' guys back up there in the hills and doing coal mine stuff. Those guys, they died a short, and it was horrible and painful
Yeah,
life.
they're dying in their 30s, because
Mm-hmm.
they're dying from all of the diseases that came with it. And yeah, Ryan, I just can't imagine. I cannot imagine how bad it was for these poor guys and their families to see them go through it.
Sure.
And I think too about one of my favorite places now is Libby, Montana, working up there for a year on that project on the old asbestos mine, the Libby asbestos mine, and the cleanup project with that. And you've had 3 generations of people die that didn't work on the mine because the
Yeah.
miners were bringing home the asbestos in their clothes,
Mm-hmm.
and the town was just loaded with asbestos because they were dumping it everywhere because they didn't know. They did though. That's the thing. And that's why I can tell you the whole story on that. But the kids were playing in asbestos. Everybody's playing in asbestos. The track at the high school was
Mm.
with asbestos. They literally had to wipe down every single wall in every single building. They had to scoop out all of the dirt in the whole town. They had it. So the whole town was covered in asbestos. So you have 3 generations of people dying from asbestos related diseases who have never, ever
Mm-hmm.
touched foot on the mine.
Right.
Wow.
So you have all of
Fun.
that grief and heaviness.
Yeah. Fun fact. Remember in the Wizard of Oz when they were in the snow scene? That was
Oh, yeah,
asbestos.
it was.
I know that. I
That
knew
was
that.
asbestos that was being showered down on because they didn't know. And asbestos is a great insulator. And yeah, that was something
Yeah.
that they could get a hold of fast.
Yep.
And those people, rolling around in it, it's pretty
Well,
gnarly now. It's
they were bagging the byproduct off because they were making drywall and everything else and mud and
mm-hmm.
everything else, asbestos and fireproofing, right? Materials like, but they were also what was remainder. They were putting it in garden soil, vermiculite. They still sell
Yeah,
vermiculite, but it doesn't have asbestos in it anymore. But so
right.
then they were giving the whole town free vermiculite to put in your yards to grow your vegetables. So you're just rolling around in more asbestos. So the whole town was this ginormous asbestos dump. There's so
Oh,
much
geez.
asbestos at the old mine site in the forest, in the middle of the forest, that they can never clean it up. It will never be cleaned.
Yeah,
You can't clean it up. So what you have to do is try to minimize the impact, keep people out, pray to
right.
God the fire never hits it.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine just a big logging crown fire running through there, creating its own weather,
Oh
Yeah.
and
man.
friggin' that whole place would just, oh my,
So
it'd
they
glow
have
in
a
the dark.
volunteer dedicated Forest Service fire crew that will suit up with respirators to fight a fire should it get in it's operable unit number 3, which is where the asbestos was mined itself. They have dedicated water trucks. They have a dedicated helicopter that takes air samples. As soon as fire starts anywhere in that area, everything's working. And so what they're doing now is they're kind of logging around that area to thin the undergrowth. So if a fire does start, it's less likely to get into the asbestos site
Yeah,
because
it's
it
not
can
going to
never be cleaned
converge.
up. It's in the
Yeah,
bark,
yeah,
it's in the branches, it's in the duff, it's everywhere. You can't clean that up. So
that's
there's no,
incredible. You
yeah.
were talking about the vermiculite. So not only were they breathing this stuff in, they're drinking it in their water. They're eating it in their tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a friggin' death sentence.
Mm-hmm.
And they're putting it up against their house's siding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And blown it in insulation in their attic. I mean, old
Mm-hmm.
houses all had asbestos blown in insulation.
Sure did.
So
Wow.
one of the theories on the World Trade Center, now we're getting totally off topic here, but so one of the theories about how fast they collapsed was they had an asbestos abatement project, asbestos removal project going on in the Twin Towers to remove the blown on insulation off all of those steel beams to get rid of the asbestos. And they were about 2/3 of the way completed with the project when the attack happened. So there wasn't all that fireproofing because they hadn't replaced the fireproofing yet with the non-asbestos product. So it just went boom, 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 came straight down because all of the fire suppression, the asbestos, blown on asbestos that they used was being removed.
Right.
So
that makes more sense why it collapsed like it did, because I had always wondered that.
I don't know. That to me, anyway, that's a whole other show. But but anyway, we got off track. We do that, but it's fine.
Squirrel.
Anyway, if you guys put in the chat, and let us know on the YouTube page what you guys want us to talk about, because we're happy to go in any direction. We'll
heck yeah,
and have a show on it. And we love the fact that you guys are popping in from Dirty Birdie's Discord. We love that. He has his own fan base.
I actually was somebody asked me to cover the tungsten event that happened in Russia.
Tungsten, that's a mineral, isn't it?
Yeah, tungsten. I can't remember.
Are you talking about Dyatlov Pass?
No, Dyatlov Pass is a completely different one.
That's a
Tungsten? Was it a mine? A mining?
No. No, it was an area. It was an area out in the Siberian wilderness that was just completely obliterated. All these trees were just flat.
Oh yeah, no, I did. I remember that. I did read about that. Yeah, we can cover that. And then Ryan wants Black-Eyed Children, and we've talked about that one on a different podcast, but we can do that.
Heck yeah, the Becks. We can do some Becks. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. You know what's funny is there's not a lot of history on Becks before, what was it, 1995, Bert?
Yeah.
That guy was writing the check. And that was one of the first findings, 95, 97.
Yeah, it was a guy in Texas that
in Abilene.
Yeah,
that first coined the term "black-eyed kids."
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And that was one of the first that, like I said, there's not a lot of history on him prior to that. And then there's actually and you talk about a squirrel. There's a lot of things that have happened before them, but there's not a lot of incidents after the Black-Eyed Kids were there. So let's jump down that score.
Next week. Let's look into Black-Eyed Children for next week.
Yeah, Ryan, show back up, Ryan.
Man, I'll tell you what, Ryan, we know Birdie's amazing. He's one of our favorite peeps.
What?
The bird.
Come on.
Did you know? Did you know?
What?
The bird. Bird is a word. No, Brian.
You guys, we love you so much for joining us tonight, and thank you. Thanks, Trista, for stepping in tonight.
Yeah,
no problem.
Thank you.
Snuff. So, I think most of the team has been sick again. So
that time of year.
Well,
it's just gonna keep going through us like
time
wildfire.
for round 2. And then
all right. Well, we'll be back on. Don't forget to hit our Wednesday night show with our psychics. Trista and I, for those of you who don't know, Trista and I have started a true crime podcast. The show's called Creme de la Creme, but the YouTube handle is called Cringeworthy Crime. So hit YouTube up on Cringeworthy Crime, and we're going to start doing all of our true crime over there, kind of keep our platforms a little bit separate because not everybody likes but the true crime.
Well, that story we did the other night, that was kind of intense.
It was really intense, but that one could have been it should be a Patreon episode because it's so bad.
Yeah.
So bad. Anyway, love you guys. We'll see you guys next week. Have a great weekend and stay safe.
Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.
No,
Be safe, guys.